Hi, I'm Dani Torres. I'm from Barcelona. I work at Diversit as director. In this project in the FastLisa, I'm coming from the University Autónoma de Barcelona, who are the partners, and they ask us to support them to design and implement the training to the ambassadors. These trainings have been one of the most exciting. I say I've trained thousands of people in more than 20 countries, but I would say that this one has been very special. The age of the ambassadors, between 18, 20 something, that's been very interesting to learn from them. And they are people very committed. They are diverse, but they found a common interest and passion here, and it's been really great to know how these young people think and how do they act in not just on this topic. I could learn more in terms of generational aspects of these people, but of course they are not like representatives of all the youngsters. They are representatives of a very specific profile of youngsters who are those who are committed to the how to improve the conditions of life and social justice in the cities. I think the training has been great for one reason. I mean, it's like we provide a very dynamic, creative training, but also not just theoretical, but we put them in situations in which they had to take decisions, like if they were in the real world, like if they were responsible in a local government, so they had to decide where would they put the budget in order to deal with the hate speech and how to reduce the prejudices in their cities. So they had to reflect about all the fields that influences the creation, the origin and nature of prejudices, stereotypes and also hate speech. They also had to do some role play, like in terms of becoming members of organizations and debate. And for me, the most important is that they develop the skills that allow them afterwards to be more able to identify hate speech, but also to what to do with it. I mean, either if you're a victim, either if you're a testimony of a hate speech in your environment and among friends or relatives or students around you, how to act. I mean, I think many people that they don't like hate speech or that they hate hate speech, they don't know what to do when they identify it. I mean, many people, they don't even identify it, but if you manage to identify it, many people, they don't do anything because they don't know really what to do. I think one of the main goals of this training was to provide the skills so they know what to do, and what to do to counter, to prevent, and also in very different contexts, not just online. I think this project is focusing mainly on online, but I always think that the skills that you may have in the online communication also comes from your skills and communication in a wider sense, like also in face-to-face, in debates, in dialogue, and how do you relate to other people? And then that has a reflect on the online world. Of course, it has different rules, but we not focus only on the online context. We also, focus on the offline. Because many conversations, even with your friends, relatives, whatever, they take place offline. And then people, okay, maybe online they go into more like hate, a kind of, another kind of language, another kind of expressions and comments, but that's a reflect of how they are, how they think. And we focus especially on critical thinking and making people not just saying this is hate speech, you cannot say this. No, it's about you reflect about why people say these things, and what we can do to counter this, to avoid the normalization of those speeches, but also how can we influence at the basis of the pyramid of hate, on when prejudices, stereotypes, when jokes, rumors take place, and many people don't just are part of those, or they don't say anything. We need to start there, not just when the hate speech is identified. That's the top of the iceberg. We focus on the training a lot on what to do at the beginning of the process before hate speech takes place. Usually in the training, we also ask people to share any experience they've got in which they felt being stigmatized or being stereotyped by someone on from the environment, I think the very interesting thing is that many ambassadors, they could share an experience from people close to them and people that they know and they consider they are good people, they are nice people, But at some point they make a comment regarding, for example, their sexual orientation or the color of the skin or their body or whatever, in a way that they realize it was really based on the stereotype and prejudices, but they realized that the best way to counter that was not just to start saying you're racist, you're homophobic, how can you say that? The best way was to try to make the other person think more about what they say, trying to promote critical thinking, and asking questions to them so the other person realize about that you've been stereotyping the other person. So this is the kind of strategy that it was more inspiring, because that was the training about, It's like hate speech is not just from anonymous people and online. The origin of hate speech can come from people around us, people that we consider nice people, And the best strategy is not just to blame them and to start insulting them as a racist, but try to make them reflect that they need to be aware of the negative consequences of using those stereotypes or prejudices, because they are the ground that after can evolve into the hate speech, right? So what are the communication skills? What are the most effective strategies that you can develop to counter those situations that are uncomfortable and that many people try to avoid or get in silence? So no, we work to be proactive here and be efficient, because sometimes whatever you can say, it makes it worse. Diversity, intercultural issues, or sexual orientation, whatever. Sometimes we miss a very important point, which is the intergenerational relationships. And I learned a lot from these youngsters. And of course, they are youngsters that are really committed, but that they break a lot of stereotypes about what people, sometimes I think each generation complains a lot about the youth people from the generation, youngsters are not like we used to be, And then they just not bring experiences, they bring know-how, they bring visions of life, different kind of commitments, and also they provide me with very good information about what they think and how they feel, what are the main barriers that they find in their relationships, how do they find barriers in society to develop themselves, and also what are the stereotypes and the prejudices that they see more often in their daily life. And I'm working on this, and this is kind of an investment for me to give me more energy and more motivation, and also more data and know-how on how to improve the strategies that we can design to counter prejudices and stereotypes. So for me, I felt really lucky, to have this opportunity.
And now my love for you is so strong.